I feel like success is the easiest thing to think about because success attracts success. And honestly, my brain is just programmed for success. Like, there's not really anything else in my brain except being successful. So it's really easy for me to say that success is just the easiest thing to think about because I can't really think about anything else. And here they come. It's like a train of consciousness for successfulness. It's just like being successful just attracts more success. And it's like when you're successful, you just have more success. And it's like, it's just like too much. It's just too much success, right? And I think that that's my problem, is that I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of success that I get, right? And it's like, what is up, guys? It is your boy Nick Torius, back again with another podcast. This is Nick Torius at night. We are live, in the flesh. Yeah, we have a lot of topics tonight, right? A lot of topics. I'm just kidding. I have like a main central focus for this podcast, which is the title. I smell success when I wake up. I'm just kidding. It's called I Wake Up and Smell Success, right? Let's dive deep into that. But first, I wanted to shout out the fact that this is my third episode doing this. I shoot this like once a week. So this is my third episode. So been keeping up with the consistency. That's like really the most important part for me, because it's like, if I don't shoot the episode, then the episode won't be shot. And then I can't drop it. But yeah, so like I said on the first episode, I wanted to start the podcast with just talking about like a show that I watched, or like a movie or something that I watched recently. I've honestly been so busy this week that I haven't watched like any TV. I mostly listen to just like podcasts. I don't even listen to podcasts. I listen to my podcast. I listen to 6 Feet Going Deep. Right now I'm on episode 23. I shot that with Skater Montez. Shout outs to him. My boy Neptune, aka Os Trims. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to the boy. And then my co-host. Shout out to him too. It's funny because like last week I shot another episode right on Wednesday, and I go to the gym and I see him at the gym again. I'm like, I didn't see you any other day. It's like right after I shot the podcast, it's like I saw you the next day again. It happened the first time. I don't know, that was funny. Anyways, so yeah, I haven't been watching that much TV. The only thing I watched was Dr. No, right? Honestly, no. I don't want to get too personal with this, but it's like I watched Full Metal Alchemist, right? I was watching Full Metal Alchemist last week, right after I shot the last podcast. And there's a character, his name is Colonel Armstrong, right? And he was taught, like, Edward was like complaining about how he just talks about his family lineage all the time, right? It's like generation after generation of his family, right? And it's funny because I was thinking about like my family lineage, right? And it's funny when you're like an American and your parents are like from different parts of the world, because it's like, you know, if you're like American, right, and it's like you have like a strong family history, you're like, you know where your roots are, you know where you come from. I'm just thinking about slave owners. I don't know why. But it's like, you know, like those big I'm just thinking about like a big plantation where it's like my grandpappy and his great grandpappy, right? It's funny because when my grandfather passed away, like rest in peace to him. You know, I don't want to say like we pillaged his stuff, but you know, he had like his things. You know, it's like he's not really gonna use them anymore because, you know, whatever. So you know, it was just like he had this like gold pocket watch, and I go to my boy and I'm like, yo, here, this, you can have this. It was passed down from my family for generation to generation. And he's like, you mean you stole it from your grandpa and now you're giving it to me? And that was basically what it was, because it's like, you know, I don't really have anything like to pass down, right? It's like, obviously my last name isn't Torius, right? I was going through my DMs the other day and I saw this girl. She said, she had DM'd me. She said, oh my God, your name is Torius and it sounds like victorious. That's so crazy. And I was thinking like, yeah, it's crazy because I literally came up with the name. You know, that's not like my real name, but maybe like people think that my last name is Torius. But it's funny because sometimes I forget that my last name isn't Torius. And then if someone calls me by like my last name, I'm like, do you mean Victorious? Do you mean Victorious? And you know, I was watching Fullmetal Alchemist and he was talking about like his family lineage, right? And he's like talking about things that were passed on from generation to generation. And then I had never in my life thought that was important until watching that scene, and I was thinking, you know, it would have been like great if I had something to pass down to my grandchildren and their grandchildren and their kids and all that stuff. Like, not just like stuff, right? Like, not like just an inheritance, but it's like skills, like things that only like the Torius clan can do, right? Like in Naruto, there's like the Uchihas, they have their Sharingan. It's like, imagine having like secret powers and you can just like, it's like no one in the world knows except like our family. And I was thinking about, you know, changing my last name to Torius like permanently, so I can just start my own lineage, because I don't really know anything about my I don't want to get too personal, but I don't really know anything about like my dad's side of the family. Like, I know my dad, and it's funny because like right after I had that thought of I should change my last name, I went to sleep and I had a dream, and it's funny, I woke up and my dad was like blowing up my phone. It's like he was hitting me up on Instagram, and I don't really talk to him that much, and it's just funny because it's like, you know, I hadn't been talking to him, but then I thought like, oh, you know, I want to change my last name. And he was like wait, right? Because it's like, I don't really care for my last name, because my last name I used to get like bullied and like, not like bullied, but like made fun of for my last name. So it's, you know, Torius. So I'm like, it's funny because I'm like staring at the name Torius the whole time. It doesn't sound like a last name, but it's like whatever. I like it. Plus, it's like I'm not the. Anyways, but yeah, a lot of other stuff happened. Like, I had a crazy dream. Anyways, but yeah, I wake up and smell success. Oh wait, no, I was watching I forgot. So I watched Fullmetal Alchemist. So I watched Fullmetal Alchemist. Then I watched Legend of Korra. The thing about Legend of Korra is that it's really good, right? And Fullmetal Alchemist is also really good. But I feel like The Legend of Korra, since it was written for kids, it could have been better. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I just like watch it and I'm just thinking like, oh, this could have been written a lot better. Like, basically, I was watching it was the end of the third season when Zahir was fighting with what's his name, Tenzin and Bumi and the sister, right? And I thought it would have been a lot better if Tenzin and Bumi were fighting Zahir together. I think that would have been like a way more crazier like battle. But the fact that they were all each fighting one of the people, it kind of took away from the moment, because it's like It would have been better if Zahir and Bumi and Tenzin were all fighting each other, because then it would have shown like Zahir was so strong that it took two people to fight him, right? It's always better when the villain is fighting multiple people at once, like good guys, because then it's like, because then it shows like the power creep, because it's like he's so strong that it takes more than one person. But it's like if when he's just like fighting Zahir, that's it, and it's like, oh, he's just fighting Zahir. That's, I mean, Tenzin. It's just like a normal fight, you know. It's not like let's look, for example, Rock Lee, Naruto, and Gaara versus Kimimaro, right? Like that fight was great because Rock Lee was so strong, yet he couldn't fight Kimimaro, but then Gaara fought Kimimaro at the same. I don't know how to explain it, but whatever. I don't really want to talk too much about shows. I watched Dr. No too. It was like a James Bond movie. Because I want to start watching all the James Bond movies. Because I always watch people like shows. They would always do parodies of like James Bond and stuff, right? Like satire of it. Because it's funny. Because one of my favorite movies is Austin Powers, right? And you know, I watched Austin Powers, but I've never watched James Bond, right? And it's funny because like when I was younger, I had thought, like I had watched Austin Powers and I had like seen my mom like cracking up. This was like in 2000 something, and I was like a little kid, and I saw my mom like cracking up, right? And then I see like Austin Powers, like, you know, he's getting all the chicks and stuff. He's like girls love him and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, oh, you know, girls must love guys like Austin Powers. So I feel like I low-key got like I'm not gonna say I got my personality from Austin Powers, but I remember one time in 2020 I was watching Austin Powers after like not watching it for like many years. It was during the quarantine, and I was so fucking high, and it was just the funniest thing I had ever seen, bro. It was so funny at the time, right? But then I watched Dr. No, and I saw like James Bond, and I feel like something clicked in me, right? And it made me think like, oh, you know what? I feel like it was like a turning point, like a turning chapter in my life of like, oh, before I was like Austin Powers, now I'm James Bond. Right? Not necessarily, but it's like, I don't know. I just never seen those movies, and I feel like they're like, I feel like older movies are just like more important than like newer movies. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. I wake up and I smell success, right? How long? I forgot. I always forget to check how long I was going. Anyways, I wake up and taste success, right? I do, but I also wake up and smell success. Normally when I wake up, first thing I do is I grab my iPad and then I just write down like what I'm grateful for, right? And just like write down things that I'm grateful for. You know, a lot of times I write Instagram, right? Because like I'm thinking in my head, I need to check my Instagram. So I like, instead of like checking my Instagram, I just write down I'm grateful for Instagram, because it's like, you know, kids in Africa don't have Instagram. So I'm grateful for that, the fact that I have that my brain can scream at me in the morning to get out of bed, because I need to look at my Instagram, right? Like I need to look at my Instagram. I just think that's so funny, right? Because when I'm writing my gratitude, it's like things are screaming in my head of like what I want, right? It's like I'm writing down things that I'm grateful for, and it's like things are in my head screaming at me to do them. Mainly just like looking at my phone, and I just write them down. It's like, you know, I'm grateful for that. Shut the hell up, bro. Right? And after I write down what I'm grateful for, you know, it's important, because one time, like I feel like the higher your vibrational frequency is, the more things that you're able to find to be grateful for. When you're at a low vibrational frequency state, there's like nothing to be grateful for. You're like, yo, this thing sucks. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's hard to find things to be grateful for. But then when you're like at a high vibrational frequency, you're like, yo, I'm so grateful I don't have a hangnail right now. I'm so grateful that that I'm the color that I am. I'm grateful that it's like I have the opportunity to like meet so many incredible people in my lifetime and just like walk on the yellow brick road with golden rainbows, right? And it's like there's like so much infinity, and it's like there's so much to be grateful for when you're at a high vibrational state. And it's like, see, like you can tell by my state how it's like for me. It's hard to not be grateful for anything because I just spent so many years just like writing gratitude stuff. It's like that's the first thing. Like that's the first thing that anyone ever says, right? To like if you're journeying, right, like write down your gratitude, write down what you're grateful for. While I was just jogging and listening to my podcast, right, episode 23, Jordan Year, 6 Feet Going Deep, and my boy Austin, like, whoa, I was explaining on the podcast, and it's so funny when I listen to my podcast back. It's like I'll be like listening to what I have to say because I feel like I'm very captivating, right? Like I'm a very captivating speaker, and I feel like I'm very good at capturing attention. And when I'm speaking, it's funny because I listen and I'm like, I wonder what he's gonna say next. As if I'm like it's one thing when you're like listening to something over again and you're like, I already know what it's gonna say, but it's like literally my thoughts and my experiences, and I'm like, I wonder what I'm gonna say. And it's like, bro, that's me. Like that's like literally me. So it's like I should be feeling that right now. Like I shouldn't be anticipating and curious about what I have to think and say when I'm literally living that experience right now. But I do. I don't know. It's funny. It's just something I've noticed, right? And I was listening to my story, and I think I was explaining how like I was talking about success and saying that when you are successful, in order to stay successful, you have to do things that created your success in the first place, and you have to just stay consistent with them. And I said this thing where sometimes, like for me, for instance, that I would do interviews and I would hear people talking about, you know, because I would interview small people who are like not that big, and I'd be like, I'd interview small creators, and I'd hear criticism like, oh, you're interviewing my boy and I'm bigger than him. Like I've heard that been told to me, and I'd hear things like, oh, you know, like he interviews nobodies and anybody can be on this, right? And I was saying that, and it's funny because in my head I'm thinking like, I'm not sure if it's like because Austin was thinking it, but I was thinking, you know, who gives a fuck, right? Who cares what other people have to say? It's your platform, right? And it's funny because it's like Austin literally said that after, and he's like, right, this is your platform. Like, why do you care about what other people are saying about your platform? Like, if you want to interview nobodies, bro. Like, da 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 da. And I'm like, you know what? I'm right, because I was already thinking that, and he just like pointed it out in the podcast, but that was in the past, right? And it's important to realize that you don't really live in a chamber of like competition, right? When it comes to success is about what you are going through and like what you consider to be a success, right? I mean, I always hear people saying that, but it's like I feel like there are universal rules of success, right? Like I mean, use universal parameters or markers of success. Like obviously, if you like drive a Mercedes Benz, I only say that because I was watching 2.5 Men and Charlie's mom was like, "Let me borrow your Mercedes," and then he's like, "No," and then Alan's like, "Oh, you could borrow my car," and she's like, "Thank you, honey, but I need to look successful," right? And anyways, yeah, you know, and I was thinking because I honestly did care about what. I mean, I didn't really care about what people thought, but I cared about what Adam thought. Like, Adam's 22, because you know, I you know, obviously just copied him. I saw what he was doing was working, so I copied him and he started working. You know, they say like success leaves clues. You know, he left a lot of clues. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I'd be pretty dumb to not have copied him. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people criticize me for copying him, but it'd be dumb to not do that, right? I mean, I did my own thing. You could argue that I wasn't as successful as Adam, right? But I started at a younger age than he did. I started when I was like 22 years old. He started when he was 32. So it's like a lot of times, like, it's kind of vulnerable, but I low-key compare myself to that, right? I say to myself, like, if I ever feel like not successful, I think to myself, you know, I had a fraction of Adam's success, and he's like overwhelmingly successful, and I was younger than him. You know, I don't do as many drugs as he does. I don't do any drugs right now, and my head is like super clear and focused, and I'm able to like I mean, he like just gives the game. You know what I mean? He just gives the game, and it's like you'd be kind of dumb to not follow it. Like something that actually works. I mean, like, I don't know how about YouTube anymore, because it's like, you know, there's a lot of people doing things that are like a lot better. Whatever. I forgot what I was talking about. So after I wake up, I write down in my gratitude journal things that I'm grateful for, and then I started writing my goals. And at first I was doing the Carnegie principle, which is like it's funny, I was gonna name this episode Cycle Syncing, because I don't know, I listen to a lot of women speaking on productivity, and we're talking about cycle syncing. I might name my next one that, but whatever. I write my goals down, and at first I was following the Carnegie principle, which was you just write down you write down 6 things that you want to accomplish that needs to be done, and then you just like do 3 of them, or you just do the first thing, then you do the second thing, and you can't do the second thing. You can't move on until the first thing is completed or the previous thing is completed. I find something that works for me is just like doing things for 10 minutes, like doing 10 minutes a day. It seems like, oh, that's not enough to like really complete something, right? Like, I do street interviews. When I do the street interviews, I have to edit the videos, and that takes like so long, and it's pretty overwhelming. Because it usually takes 5 hours to finish, right? Like when I start to finish, it takes 5 hours, right? And it's like a lot of times I have 5 hours to put into it, and I can complete it in like one day. I usually take 2 days, and it takes 2.5 hours, because then I sync up the audio. It's funny because it's like when I post them, and I get like not a lot of likes, right? On TikTok I get a lot of views, but then when I post, I don't know, for anything I post on Instagram is like, you know, funny, and it's just funny to me whenever I post them on Instagram and I don't really get any likes, right? And it's just funny to me because I'm thinking like, you know, like there's probably hella people talking shit about me doing this, but it's a lot of work. And it's not like the type of work that it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. It's more like, this takes work to like do, and I don't really want to do it, but it, you know, it takes a lot of work. An interview doesn't really take that much work. You just think it once and then you cut it up. But then it's like when you do street interviews, public interviews, they take a lot of time to, you know, like cut out awkward pauses, make it funny, and especially when you have like ideas to like make the content better, it's kind of that takes more time, because you're like, oh, you know, I have this idea, and you don't have those ideas until like you're in the middle of it, and then you're like, damn, if I do this, it's gonna take more longer, whatever. Especially like when things just line up, and it makes it funnier. You know, those were doing pretty good on TikTok before my TikTok got hacked. And it's funny when I say that, because I can say that and you won't know unless you follow me on my old TikTok. It's like you don't really know how many followers I had on TikTok. I could like have had 1 million followers on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, they were doing pretty good on TikTok. And it's like, I'm so successful because they were doing so good and so well on TikTok. And it's like, you will never know how many followers I had, and I could just like fabricate how successful they were. And I'm sorry, my leg is falling asleep. What was I saying? Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just funny because it's like when you know how much work something takes, it's like no one, like things that people say to you about like criticizing it doesn't really, like, you can't really take offense to that, because you're like, okay, you weren't there making this. Even with my music, like a lot of my music that I make, you know, I make funny songs, like they could be considered funny, because I just, like, when I first, well, most of the time when I make music, I would be like super drunk, and I just think of something funny that I see on Instagram. I was like, let me make a song about that. And I would just like make it, but then it's like, you know, you still gotta do all the boring parts of it. So it's like, yeah, this is funny, yeah, it's just like silly and stuff, but it's, you know, there's engineering, sound engineering behind it. So it's like, oh, this is so stupid. Or you make this stupid ass shit, and it's like, yeah, but behind it, it's like all seriousness, right? It's like I'm not laughing when I'm editing a street interview, and I'm not laughing when I'm engineering a song. Even when I'm doing this, Nick, I know you're not laughing watching this, bro. I'm just kidding, I know you are. But I know that when I edit this is not gonna be fun to edit. I mean, it could be, but I don't know, I just put off a lot of editing stuff, because it's like, damn, bro, it's like all this stuff takes like 2 hours, 3 hours, right? It's not like regular stuff. But that brings me back to what I was saying, is like, I put 10 minutes into something. Like, I'll do the street interviews, right? I know for a fact they take 5 hours to edit. If I would just put 10 minutes, right? I would be like, okay, I'm gonna put 10 minutes here, 10 minutes, and I don't feel like I accomplished anything. And then I put another 10 minutes another day. Oh, I didn't accomplish anything. 10 minutes. Oh, I didn't accomplish anything. And then all of a sudden on the 4th day, like, because when you're putting those 10 minutes in, you think like, dang, bro, it's like, this takes 5 hours, and I'm only putting these 10 minutes in, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And all of a sudden on the 4th day, it's done. Like, this took me 4 days. The first 3 days, I put 10 minutes in. Then I put 10 minutes again, and I just finished, right? I don't know. It's like, that would be funny if it's like a new principle, and it's like the Torius method, right? Something like that. I don't know. This happened to me a couple times, and it's just like, you just find the will. It's just like when you make something like habit, like it's just habits, you know? Like when you're just like putting your habits out, like playing the guitar every day for 10 minutes, all of a sudden you just get really good, and you're just like, oh, how did this get accomplished? I have no idea. That's what consistency really is, right? A lot of people think that consistency is like, oh, I have to post every single day, right? One time I told my boy, like, we were out at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I said to him, you're like Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like, I don't need you all the time, but when I want Buffalo Wild Wings, Buffalo Wild Wings is there. And he took offense to that, right? I was super drunk, and he was like mad that I said that. But it's like, it taught, like, me saying that, like that coming out of me made me realize what consistency really was. And I was like, oh, that's what consistency is. It's like, you don't need it all the time, but the times that you do need it, it's there. That's why you have to be consistent. Let's get back to after I would do my Carnegie method. I would write down 6 goals, and then I would circle 3 of them. And it's like, all this stuff needs to get done. So like, I don't really care. I'll just be like, okay, I'll circle, right? Yo, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of things that you put off, if you just put on a video of it, you'll get that shit done, bro. Cause today, I had a midterm to do, right? And I have a bunch of like, we use this program called Zybooks. And I was putting off the midterm because we had like 2 weeks to do the midterm, right? My professor opened it two weeks ago, and I was like, dang, bro, like, I haven't done it, and it's due today, right? And I was just dreading because I had to clean up, because I have a habit, or I have a routine where I just like wake up and then I clean my house, and then I go on my computer and do work. And I was like, fuck, man, I haven't, because I know I had to shoot the podcast today, and I had to go to the gym, and I have to watch TV, right? It's like TV is such a huge priority for me because I only watch TV on Wednesdays, right? And I knew there was so much stuff stacked in my day that I would probably only have like 1 hour to do my midterm, and I was like stressing out about it. And I'm like I'm cleaning my stuff. I'm like following my routine, I'm following the schedule that I set for myself. And, I'm listening to these podcasts, these YouTubers, and they're like talking about whatever stuff. I was listening to like clothing resellers because I'm like trying to sell clothes and stuff. And I was listening about clothing. And then I had thought in my head, I was like, let me listen about like school. Let me listen about like making schoolwork important. Because to me, schoolwork is just like not a priority, right? And it's so hard to make it a priority because I have so much going on. And it's like, dang, bro, school. Especially, like I just said, I had 2 weeks. My professor opened his midterm 2 weeks ago, and it's due today, literally today, and I hadn't done it yet. And I'm like, fuck it, bro. And I was not motivated at all. I was actually. And it's funny because it's funny how stress is like past motive. Like there's like not motivated, and then there's stressed, which means that it's like I'm not motivated and it hurts, right? And I was like, you know what? Let me put on a video about school and how to get good grades. Maybe that'll motivate me to get this midterm done. So I put on a video about. It's called How to Romanticize School, and I was listening to it, and I was like, bro, let me just take this fucking midterm, bro. And it's so funny because I took it, and I got a B. Hey, congrats, Torius. I got a B on it, and it's just so funny because I thought about it. I was like, damn, bro, there's a saying, it's like, you are what you study. And it's like, I literally just put on a video about doing good in school, and I went from, bro, I'm gonna do this midterm in like 4 hours, to let me just do it right now. And I literally got it done. It's like anything that, like, if you need to wash dishes, just put on a video how to wash dishes, or like how to be the best dishwasher. If you have to study, how to study the best. If you have to like if you have to edit a video, how to edit the greatest videos. Like for me, I don't really make beats as much as I used to, and for me, instead of like, I always write down on my to-do list to make a beat, right? And it's like I never do it. But then instead of making a beat, I said to myself, you know what? Let me watch a tutorial on how to make a beat. And it's like, instead of spending 10 minutes making a beat and then giving up and being like, F this, I put on a beat tutorial, Then I get inspired, and I'm like, you know what? I can make a beat right now. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't done it. Cause beat tutorials are so boring, bro. Cause you know what actually my problem is that I used to put on beat tutorials to fall asleep, right? Like if I couldn't sleep, I'll put on busyworksbeats.org.com, right? so that one's kind of counterintuitive, but you get the point, right? But whatever. You know, I just thought that was kind of funny. You know, I was like, you know, how to get good grades. And I went from like stressing to motivated to let me get this shit done right now, you know? And I was just like fired up. And I was like, oh, this is really good. Let me see how much more time I have left. I have 1 minute left. 1 minute left to talk about the main focus of the podcast, which is I wake up and taste success. I wake up and smell success, right? It's like, I was thinking, should I call it I wake up and taste success, or I wake up and smell success, right? Because I feel like smelling success once you wake up is a lot more powerful than tasting success, because saying that you taste success just means that, oh, I tasted it, which means that you don't have the whole full thing. But if you say I smell success when I wake up, it's like the smell lingers, which means that it's just like stays, which means that you wake up and you smell it and it's like always around you. So I wake up and smell success. I was writing, I don't think I need to show my iPad notes, but I was just writing successful thoughts, right? And it's like, I feel like success is the easiest thing to think about because success attracts success. And honestly, my brain is just programmed for success. Like there's not really anything else in my brain except being successful. So it's really easy for me to say that success is just the easiest thing to think about because I can't really think about anything else. And here they come. It's like a chain of consciousness for successfulness. It's just like being successful just attracts more success. And it's like when you're successful, you just have more success. And it's like, it's just like too much. It's just too much success, right? And I think that that's my problem, is that I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of success that I get, right? And it's like, success can't be a negative thing, but it's just like when you're successful. see, that's the thing. It's that it's easy to be getting success, right? It's easy to think about success because success is fun to think about. I'm a successful person, point blank period, right? Those are just the thoughts that are in my, because it's like because for me, I don't really see a point in thinking about most things. So I just think about success all the time. Because I don't ever think about things I need to get done. I don't ever think about I don't ever think about money. I don't ever think about what do I have to do. I don't ever think about anything because like my brain is just always empty, right? Unless it has to do with success. Because it's like the things that make you successful, you can't really think about them. It's all action. Action is what creates success. Like action is the pillars and the staircase to success. And it's you can't really think about action. You just have to have space for it. You just have to have the space and time for the action to be created and executed, right? Because it's like action is just what, you can't have success without action. So it's like success is easy to think about. It's easy to think about success. It's easy to create actions also. You just can't be fat. That's why for me, fitness is the most important thing, because fitness, I'm sorry, I'm just understanding. Fitness, damn, it's crazy because I'm just thinking about like crazy people probably so dang smart because I'm just talking to myself, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to put this on YouTube and on the internet. But crazy people are probably so smart because they have all these insights that I'm like having right now. Anyways, Actions are what makes success. I just saw a quote this week. It said 20 minutes of action is way better than 2 hours of thinking about success. Because just like I said earlier, 10 minutes editing, 10 minutes editing, day 2, 10 minutes editing, day 3, 10 minutes editing, day 4, I'm done. In 5 hours I needed. I did. Let me go for more in depth. Obviously, it takes 5 hours, but I just started in 10 minutes and I'm just done, right? Every day I go to the gym for 10 minutes. That's just the bare minimum I have to be there, right? I might be there longer. I was going to say I might be there shorter, but I can't because it's like the bare minimum. But as long as I go every day, it doesn't really matter because it's just, just the aura, right? I wake up and smell success. Even when I go on Instagram, I'm not really necessarily looking at my followers' stories. I don't really keep up with anybody. I just look for successful people to talk to. I just look for look who can I interview? Like who do I want to interview? And I look at their pages and I absorb the success that they exude from their page, and then it makes me see like even verified badges, right? Like it's funny, I remember I wrote in my vision board, right? The last time I made a vision board, I wrote I want to be verified on Instagram, and like a week later or like maybe a month later, Instagram's like, hey, now you can pay for verification. And it didn't mean anything anymore, so I was like, dang. Like I manifested it, but it don't mean anything now. But it's funny because it's like 3 years later, I still look who's verified first. I still look at the verified badge. Like I don't even like. I feel like it's gotten to the point on Instagram where verified badges blend in now. Paid verified badges blend in with unpaid verified badges because enough time has elapsed where it's like, okay, yeah, you got your verified badge after I think it was like June 2023 or something, and it's like after that date there was a point when it's like you would check someone's verified badge and it's like, when did they get it? But now it's like enough time has elapsed where it's like, who cares? They're verified. It's like it kind of went back. Like I was thinking about it earlier and I was thinking, they probably anticipate. It's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's going to blow up and people are going to hate it, but then it'll just return to equilibrium. And it kind of did because it blew up. People hated the verified thing that you could just pay for it. But now people don't really care, like who really cares? Like if you're verified on Instagram, it's not like it's still kind of like sought after. I don't hear anybody. I just understand the value in it. Now it has utility, right? It actually has utility, and it's so funny how Instagram is like such a it like taught a lesson, right? It taught a lesson that it's like the utility of something can kind of, that's so crazy because like giving something utility made it worth less. You know what I mean? Like people say like NFTs or like cryptocurrencies, right? A lot of them have no utility, but kind of like having no utility is low key what makes it valuable, because Instagram verified badges went from having low utility to raising its like now it's more useful, but now it's worth less. I've never seen anything like that before, bro. Like imagine having a car, right? And you're like, yo, this car is very useful. I mean, this car is useless. Like you have an old vintage car and it doesn't work. It's like, yo, this car is useless, but it's worth a lot of money. And someone fixes it. Now it drives. Now it ain't worth shit. It ain't worth shit. Like what? Like I don't know. But yeah, like and subscribe. I think that's enough for this episode. Comment what you learned. Comment this is gonna blow up, so that this blows up, right? If you want me to interview you, send me a DM on Instagram and I will look at it. Anyways, this has been episode 3, Torius Nite. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you like any of the shows that I talked about, comment, because I like to hear about. Right now I'm watching Nobody Wants This, The Legend of Korra. I'm only watching Nobody Wants This because I was watching Working Moms. I really like Working Moms. It's so funny. But then I finished it and they haven't made any new episodes. So a new season of Nobody Wants This just dropped. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch this instead. And it's like it's like fuck for me because it's like kind of relationship season, right? It's like December right now. I mean, it's November right now. It's getting into December. And it's like that, cuddle season, whatever. It's like, the whole show is like literally about relationships. It's like it's about a relationship podcast. It's about like our relationship and relationships. And the last episode was literally about like Noah being like, I'm just doing the things that a boyfriend is supposed to do for his girlfriend. And that got me thinking like, damn, bro, it's just funny as a guy. It's fun to do those things, you know what I mean? It's like fun to like treat a girl the default way of how a guy is supposed to treat a girl. And it's funny how on the show she's like, oh, but you just treat me like everyone else. And it's like I don't know how to explain it. Whatever. Peace.